Hey guys, continuing on with our Giga Chad series between sSak and Soma. If you haven't seen part number 1, definitely go check that out. Came out a couple of days ago. Maybe 2-3 days ago now. And it was a pretty one-sided in Soma's favor series until near the end, where sSak started to make a comeback. So that's kind of where we were left off. Now we're coming back to sSak on the beginning of his comeback. Has some wind in his sails, but will he be able to take more games off of Soma, or is Soma gonna switch things up, catch sSak off guard, or just turn up the pressure? So far, just opening up with a 12 hatch. Or this was an 11 hatch, excuse me. 11 hatch, 10 pool. Builds a drone, 10 gas. So he used this build in the last video as well. Just a bit of a twist on the traditional 12 hatch, where the gas comes out at the same time, but you get the pool just slightly sooner. You have a little bit less minerals coming in because the drone is slightly later. So kind of an interesting divergence from normal play from Soma. I don't think it's going to matter too much. But if we, for instance, saw like an 8 racks and sSak trying to put on some pressure with early Marines, maybe there would be a little bit more lings to try and fend that off. He's just going to scout the natural now. As Soma moves his Overlord into position, he's going to have full information about what sSak is up to. Should be able to see the SCV if he moves up a little bit further. And he can get some vision on that CC and know that a CC, an expansion, is on the way. Meanwhile, the Marines just moving barely out of the vision of this Overlord. Wants to make Soma feel like there might be some pressure coming. A third Marine just pops out. And so sSak not moving across the map. He just wants to force out some lings if at all possible. Still full HP on this, and even dodges that while not taking any damage on this SCV. That's fantastic. Keeping this SCV alive as long as possible is going to be great for him. He wants to loop back around though to the front of the base and maybe even towards this main, so that he can see how many lings are being popped out. Because if he happened to be standing out here with his lings as the ling speed finished and some more lings were coming up, he could lose everything and be in a very bad position. Double racks after that first racks, and CC finishes up. That transfer comes through. We've also got a pretty quick academy. Straight into 3 racks. Will he go for more racks than this even? He's definitely not going to have that 5-minute push out. Not with the amount of money he's spending into racks right now. His first medic is out. We're going to make a fire bat as well. He might actually push out with the fire bat as well. The fire bat makes this a lot more robust. But seeing this many lings out in the front might make him a little bit scared. No, he's thinking about it. He's thinking about pushing out a little bit. He wants to force Sunkens if he can. This is the 2.5 hatch build. There's the first Sunken. And he is going to start to move forward. There's a big risk of these lings running past. And so he's going to move over to the right-hand side. Make sure that he cuts off the counterattack pathway for these lings. I think we're going to see these just head back, though. And I do believe that is the right call. Just get back into this wall and gear up for a later push with a lot more Marines and medics that can come out around the time when the Mutalisks start to harass. Like, as the Mutalisks are coming in to harass, he's going to be finishing up his range upgrade. He'll have the 3 racks online, and that Marine count is going to be quite a bit higher than your regular 2 racks fast academy rush. He should be able to push out on the map and force Soma to respect it and not dive in and start killing SCVs. I think this is the goal. Bunker is done, but this turret is not well defended. Just 5 mutas here at the start. Gonna get an SCV there for free, following the Marines now. This is quite a lot of Marines. Only the 2 medics, though. Just 2 medics in this army. If he loses one of those medics, it's going to be a rough time for sSak. This is not a lot of sustain. Nice snipe there. Very good control by sSak. Gunning down one of those Mutalisks. Now doesn't have nearly as much to worry about. With only 4 in the stack, you can no longer one-shot Marines. Finally, some more are going to be joining this group. A hatchery has started down in bottom left. He's got the Mutalisks together in the right number to actually surround and kill this. Gonna be targeting down Mutalisks as these forces fall. He kills about 3 Mutalisks during that fight, and one of them very, very low. So it wasn't too bad of a trade there for sSak. And he's really getting his barracks count up now to 4 barracks already. Has another little group of Marine medic that can move out on the field and start to put on some pressure once again. I think this has done its job. The 3 racks play so far has done its job in that he hasn't been able to really harass. I think 1 SCV has been killed. He's being able to transition, gets his comsat out. This is going to become a little bit scary if he starts losing Marines as they're popping out of the barracks, but he's heading directly over towards the natural, and that will definitely force these Mutalisks back. Again, taking hardly any damage at home, keeping his tech rolling, and putting the pressure onto Soma. So I'm going to transfer. Okay, I thought those were drones being transferred down to bottom left. He's actually made some more lings. His middle count not looking too high, but he's going to be able to start his hive here soon. He's already got a Queen's Nest finished. And so hive should be on the way shortly. In fact, it probably should be on the way already, but it seems like he wanted to get a few hydras along with that lurker upgrade started first. And so it's just a tad bit slower than maybe it should have been. I've now started. We'll see if that affects the defiler timing and if that defiler timing can be abused by sSak at all. Coming in. It's a good time to pick off reinforcements, but sSak is being very diligent about keeping his forces together. Now he's kind of split up a little bit. And so this force could be cut off and killed. However, Soma has to respect this push. This push is looking scary, man. He loses an overlord. He's actually supply blocked. Soma in quite a bit of trouble, but he catches this broken off force, and now the Marine number is so low, the Hydras are going to get targeted. The drones are here as well, but the Mutalisks are in high enough number that he is absolutely going to wipe this. All right, I was giving sSak too much praise earlier on for keeping his Marines together, and he let one group just run forward on its own. That was certainly not the right play, and now Soma is in full control of this game after wiping off that force. He can make a bunch of lurkers come across the map and set up a containment. However, a dropship has just slipped out onto the map, and there's no way that Soma knows about that. He has no idea. He thinks that it's going to be sSak on complete defensive mode, but in fact, he's heading down to bottom left to perhaps clear out that base. Radion is such a large map that if he drops on top of this hatchery, stims and attacks it, targets it down, he might just be able to straight up kill that. However, the counterattack may be the end of him. We're gonna have lurkers out in the front here very soon, and a Defiler's Mound is nearly done. That Defiler Mound is gonna be a serious problem. Oh god, Firebat goes down before getting in the bunker. Are you kidding me? Lings are gonna get up here into the main base. Yeah, this drop doesn't really matter anymore. He's killing everything in the main, going after the barracks, and he's already killed 3 barracks. GG is called. sSak sending out the last of his defensive forces to just get this drop going. If only he had filled that bunker as well. If he had that bunker full and he had enough turrets over these barracks, maybe he could have held on at least long enough to get irradiates onto these mutas. But then again, he was going to need irradiates to deal with the lurkers and eventually the follow-up of defilers that was going to be coming across the map. Sometimes you don't even need a third to win as Zerg. If you get right up in their face with lurkers and you have those defilers on the way, it can be a sure thing, a sure way to victory. And in this case, it was sSak getting a little bit too aggressive with his Marines, it seems, letting them split off and get picked off too frequently. Even with the 3 racks, you can't just continue to make and lose Marines over and over and over again and hold that map control. And so Soma takes this game. Jump into our next one and see if sSak can bring it back.
And we are back. sSak spawning down here in the bottom right hand corner, Soma in the bottom left. I'm starting to feel a little bad for this guy. sSak has been having a hard time taking games off of Soma so far. It's not looking great for him if he winds up fighting against Soma in the SSL coming soon. Although I'm not sure if Soma's even going to be allowed to participate. I'm not sure exactly when his service will end. He's been in the service for a while, and his discharge date must be coming up soon. I'm sure he would line that up with the beginning of an SSL if he could, if that's possible. He would make sure that he missed as few seasons as possible. But I digress. And 8 racks is going to be coming out of sSak. He's going to try and steal back the initiative a little bit here. Try to get a bunker rush going, and this could work. As soon as he sees the SCV, look at that. He cancels his gas and starts to pull drones. Recognizing that this might be some sort of an aggression play from sSak with that early of an SCV. I believe he built the same timing on this pool, so we're finally going to get to see the quick pool take effect in this game. As the Marines push forward, looking to gun down one of these drones initially. It's a really good play from Soma so far. He's buying a lot of time by just going back and forth like this and not giving this... Oh gosh, great pull there. Not giving sSak a really good engagement. He's already killed an SCV and he saves that drone. So the Marines are probably going to go behind the mineral patches. He'll probably build a building back here or something. Something super annoying to just make it hard for Soma to clear this. But with 6 lings, he should be able to deal with this no problem. 2 lings are able to attack at the same time. He's got the surface area there. He's going to send 1 ling to go ahead and deal with this Marine. He even forces to cancel. And so this is great once again for Soma. He's going to be feeling very good. Oh, and he catches the SCV that tried to turn around and go for the scout in the main. Amazing. Very, very good play from Soma. And he may even catch this Marine. In fact, the Marine has nowhere to go because the wall is closed. The door is closed over here. So that Marine will die as well. How many Marines was that? 4 Marines ended up dying there. 2 SCVs. And I think like 2 lings died in the exchange. So this is amazing from Soma. Follow-up's going to be a Hydra Den. I think this will be 2-hatch Hydra bust. Definitely seen this type of play quite a bit, but mostly against the factory opener. If you go for a 1-1-1 opener as a Terran player, a 2-hatch Hydra bust can be extremely effective because you're relying so heavily on the early vultures to keep yourself safe. And you're spending a lot of money into your tech, getting out your wraiths and such. The 2-hatch Hydra, only 3 drones in the minerals in the natural, 8 in the main. He's not mining off of the worst patch here in the main base, and he's just getting enough, just barely enough to pump out enough Hydras to really get this push going. And assuming that there's no medics out, and there's not going to be medics out in time for this, plus there's not going to be, he's actually building a fire bat, plus there's not going to be stim with like 6 to 7 Hydras walk up to the front. Well, there's only going to be 4 here initially, but he's just going to run up, start to gun down these Marines. The Hydras do very well against unstimmed, unassisted Marines. Going to gun down that supply depot. This is a perfect bust from Soma, following it up with a ton of Lings. That one Firebat's going to come in handy. And he does have the medic, but if he targets down the Firebat with the Hydras, you're just going to lose this force completely. And so he'll have to go up the ramp. Maybe there's still a chance here for sSak if he retreats these buildings up the ramp and, you know, just keeps on building Marines and medics, because there's so little at home in terms of drones for Soma, and he spent so much money on Lings and Hydras. He's just now getting the lair. He's going to go directly into Lurker, I imagine. It's just going to be so hard to get mobile detection as the Terran player here. Oh my gosh, so many units being thrown up this ramp. I really hate this for Soma, but he really wanted to try and get a breach going, which I just don't understand, because he's not building more units behind this. Like, I could see if you had like a huge round of Lings coming right after this, you just barely break through, and then the reinforcements come up the ramp and, you know, get on top of the barracks and everything like that. But he wasn't building more units. He loses his Hydras, and he's gonna start a Spire. I was expecting Lurker as a follow-up, but now he's gonna lose control of his low ground here in just a moment. There's a scan. Sees the main, he sees the Spire. And so he knows what's the plan for Soma. Can he get down on this low ground and get his economy rolling once again? He's got 25 workers. It's not the worst. Still, there's going to be more drones here shortly than there are SCVs. And so sSak is still in a very bad position, but there's still hope. There is still a little glimmer of hope as a Terran player. Can definitely hang on, even in some of these desperate situations. Losing your natural, as long as you lift and save most of your SCVs, it's still a playable situation. It's just going to be very difficult from here. 2 hatch, in fact 3 hatch Hydra, or 3 hatch Muta, excuse me, is going to be on the field here soon. 1,000 gas in the bank. That's actually kind of scary. Having 1,000 gas is pretty nuts. He's going to be able to make a huge amount of mutas. And in fact, he just made 8 all at the same time. What's the follow-up? Do we have an armory? Yes. Valkyrie. Definitely the right choice for sSak. He knows that there's going to be a massive number of mutas coming his way. He needs the turrets. He needs the Valkyries as soon as possible. Gonna try and slip those out. A third base hasn't begun just yet for Soma, but he's got it in his mind. He'd like to take that soon. He just wants to use all of his money on upgrades and mutas before switching back into drones and getting that third base online. Let's see if he can crack this natural. 2 turrets is not quite enough. The Marines are a little bit out of position, so he might be able to come in here and kill a couple of these turrets, open up the spot. Good repair there from sSak, keeping that 1 turret alive. Has a third turret coming up as well. Valkyrie should be on the way here soon. The control tower is just about done. This missile turret coming up. These are some good, well-positioned turrets, but he's blocking one of his SCVs from getting back to mining. Generally, you want to stagger these a little bit. If the turret's over 1 hex to the right, then the SCVs can slide through there. Turrets over the barracks are under threat. He does get the 1 turret. Is he going to get the second one? He comes back in to kill the second turret. This is just too many mutas, guys. Too many mutas for Soma. An overwhelming tech switch. And in the hands of a master, the caliber of Soma, there's almost no way to hold on. This is really the only way. Getting the Valkyrie out as soon as possible. And that's going to add the extra DPS and that splash damage, that critical splash damage that can start to save the day for sSak. These drones, what the heck? These drones, more drones all over the map, in fact. Drone still hasn't taken a base up in top left. Did Soma get too complacent in this game? He might have felt like his position was so good that he didn't really need to follow up. Have a follow-up solution, but I tell you what, he is gonna be sadly mistaken. He does need to create a follow-up opportunity. Oh my gosh, kills both of the Valkyries there as well. Bunker out in the front. I think that might be for a lurker attack that might be coming up. Hydras are being built once again. Still no third base. There it is, actually. It starts over in top left. Both Valkyries are dead, but another one's going to pop here pretty soon. And the Marines are going to start to think about pushing out. However, Mutas still have a dominance over this barracks. Can't be leaving the base while the Mutas are over this area. Okay, only a few Mutas left. Only 4 Mutas, but he can't engage this with the Valkyrie because of the Scourge. Damn it, he loses that. I'm cheering for sSak right now. He is down and out and has been for a while. A tank push gonna be his solution. Maybe, just maybe he can get enough Marines together with a few tanks and a couple of Valkyries to go across the map and threaten this natural. There is a hive about to be started here. Double evolution chamber, 6 lurkers on the way, by the way. He actually needs more defenses. He's not going to have enough in time, I don't think. The Mutas are very low, so the Valkyrie is going to help a lot with that point defense. The tank, though! Oh god, the tank, no! The tank is going to go down. That is the big pickoff for this game. Losing that tank is so bad at this point. You really can't afford to be losing that. But there it is. It goes down. The Mutas are going to retreat and go on defense, it seems. Hive is about halfway done, and 1 tank is about to pop out. This is okay. There's the Mutas. Never mind. Mutas were actually trying to look for some harassment damage, some further harassment damage, but all sSak needs to do, really, is not walk into these lurkers and get a few tanks out, get this push going. That is really his only hope. He's going to try for a drop as well. It's a bit of a gamble, and that's going to reduce the potency of this upcoming attack, but he doesn't have much of a choice, I guess. He really can't move out safely. I think he's got to save some scans. If he has 4 scans, he can scan, 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 and get to the natural. If he pushes with a couple of tanks. He's got 2 tanks. He just scanned there. He sees the lurkers. He knows that they're there. He knows not to push directly into that. Or he knows not to walk over that, at least. Gonna scan here. Sees the lurkers backing up. Okay, he's got enough space to move up to here at least. He's got to get this attack going. Can't be sitting here for too long. Whoa, I thought he was going to send the Scourge towards the rally point. Catching that dropship would be insanely good. Looks like he might instead catch the Valkyrie. Valkyrie catch is amazing. Tanks are being forced back. Oh god, the lurkers are going to come running up here. Can he actually get one of these tanks? Spreading out the Marines very nicely there. The gun down 1 lurker, and he's getting in range. He's getting very close to this natural. The Defiler's Mound is just about done, but that's still gonna be a while. Still gonna be a while before he's ready to actually throw down Dark Swarm on this army. Running forward again with the lurkers, and I think there's just a few too many units on the side of Soma. He sieges up, sSak does. Throws down the scan. Lurkers are dying for the most part, but the Marines are running out. There's too few Marines to make this work, I think. And Soma is going to hold for now. Tanks on siege. Time to back up. We need reinforcements. Unfortunately, still quite a bit of money in the bank. It seems that sSak slipped a bit in his overall production this game. This was really his big shot, his big chance to potentially break Soma. Getting in there, dealing the damage now before he comes fully online with his defilers. Whereas here we have sSak, still hasn't gotten his the science facility up. Instead, he's going to transition into mech which is going to take a long time to get online, and you need to be able to expand out further, take a double expansion, and he just doesn't have any pressure on the map with which to do so, to take that extra base. In fact, he's being pushed to his very limit, right up to the front of his third, and his natural is going to be under threat here if this gets any closer. 5 lurkers, making his life hell, baiting in some more Marines. A tank, a couple of tanks are going to come up. These are the tanks that were on the front line before. They're going to push back those lurkers. We should be able to get this base started once again. Ooh, a defiler gets sniped by that mine. Actually, quite an important snipe there. Vultures make their way up into top left as well. This is a big problem for Soma, who doesn't seem to have anything next to his Nidus to actually save this. Mutas are flying in and getting wrecked. These lurkers are all dying. There we go. He pops through some Hydras to save something, but again, Soma may be getting a little bit complacent here. Losing a few too many units. He's walking into mines with defilers, losing, 150 gas for it free, basically. A mine is absolutely free. 3 for free with each vulture. And so that is one of the best trades you'll ever see in your life. A defiler for a mine. Can't be allowing that to happen too often. Soma is going to double expand, taking the top left natural and the center left at the same time. He also starts ventral sacks. He's continuing with melee upgrades, so we should be seeing Ultra Cavern on the way. Not the greatest tech against pure mech. When there's mines and plenty of tanks available to fight them, Ultras are not the greatest. But this has been such a scrappy game. The upgrades for Terran are so low. They're actually behind, I think, the upgrades for Zerg. Yeah, okay, it's close. It's very close. There's +2 attack. There's +2 armor. So this is going to be a tight game, I think, if sSak can get more bases online and try to threaten one of these bases that are being put up. You can't allow him to double expand right now. If Soma gets this many bases online this quickly, he's gonna have so many ultras that it won't matter if mines connect and tanks are in high number. You're just not gonna be able to produce as much. It's gonna be a numbers game at that point. And yeah, it's starting to look that way. That with the income of gas and minerals, 68 drones total that Soma has accumulated, there's going to be such a glut of ultras on the map. Even running in to an unfavorable trade is going to be acceptable for Soma. He won't even need to control. He can just start building bases everywhere and just right-clicking or A-clicking armies across the map, and there's really not going to be much that sSak can do. He's sitting here on 3 bases. He hasn't secured a 4th. He should be trying to secure at least 6 o'clock. He's getting some decent trades with his mines and vultures. Lings are coming up. Tanks are going over to this area. Going to set up on this low ground. It's an interesting spot for him to take. But Ling drops are going to come out on top of this. Marines are going to push forward here, try to save. They actually target down that lurker. Dark Swarm on top of this as well. And so the lurker will survive on 14 HP, force everything back, and a bunch of tanks are going to get lost. This is a great hold from Soma. Bare minimum was utilized in the process of holding this attack. He only needed a few lings, 1 defiler, and 1 lurker to save that with his drop tech. Another base is looking to come up over here, but Soma delaying that as long as possible. Tanks trying to push over towards the natural, but man, that is not a lot of Marines or tanks to try and break through. The Lings run forward and absolutely destroy that. And the tank count has been completely reset once again. More tanks are moving out. A lot of vultures are being made. He's on 3 factory tank with an additional 4 factories pumping vulture. This is a great opportunity actually for a Mutalisk switch if he were so inclined to do so. If he wanted to switch back into Mutalisk, it's going to be so hard for sSak to make tanks and to make Goliaths to try and fight that. It's going to be mostly tank with just a few Marines in the mix. This is so many. Actually, it's not even that many ultras, but it's too many for sSak to deal with. That's quite a lot of vultures making their way to the front. The tanks are going to come out now. Ultras not taking a very good fight. As I was talking about earlier, he can afford to... Okay, there's a bunch of ultras and a defiler in that. Oh gosh, the mine connection there was insane. These overlords not even going to be used. Instead, it looks like he'll send it over to here, or maybe he'll drop in the main with those overlords. Why not into the main? Just make a problem for sSak while he's already dealing with so much, trying to get this base online in center right, trying to push, keep his defenses up. It should be possible for him to drop on top of this. Okay, he's going to drop on these tanks as they come out of the rally point. Good target on the defiler at least, so that goes down quickly. The tanks spread out in siege, and so he will be able to hold on for now. That was a pretty good defense there, I gotta say, from sSak. 1 tank over here. This actually might clear out both of these ultras, and it will. Funnily enough, both those ultras are gonna die to 1 hit from that tank. +2, dealing 80 damage per shot. And full damage to these big, beefy Ultralists as well. That mine. Oh! Somehow still goes off after glitching for that long. And gets a bunch of damage on a bunch of these Ultras. Ultras are trying to come across the map. It's tough to end with Ultra versus a mech player. Very tough. But the economy is such that it should be possible for Soma to end this. Just not efficient. That is for sure. Base over here in the center right is being harassed. Soma still with insane mining is going to take a base in the top center. Still haven't seen sSak try to take bottom center. Thought he would have tried to take that quite some time ago, but he's struggling. And in fact, he's going to GG out. It's just too tough to fight a Zerg that's this far ahead. Switching into mech, I'm not sure was the right approach. It was all based on this attack. If he had macroed a little bit more smoothly, rallied everything to the front, you know, you even want to build like bunkers and stuff. Build turrets, build bunker, bring a bunch of SCVs with this attack. With the 3 tanks and all the Marines pushing up into the natural and killing before Defiler, I think that was really his only hope. He was so far behind in this game, but he didn't commit hard enough to that, and the follow-up switch into mech fell flat on its face. Soma overwhelming with Ultra as we go into our next game. sSak spawning in the top left-hand corner. Soma bottom left. Orange Zerg. I do like the orange color on Zerg. That's my color of choice. Got the orange trunks for the Saiyan. Gonna be sending out this drone on 11 once again. 11. Are we gonna get the 10 pool? I mean, it seems very consistent with this build. Meanwhile, getting that wall in at the front. Very strong standard wall in here on Pantheon. There it is. 10 pool. Build 1 drone. Gets the gas. Yeah, he seems to really like this build. Must be just strong for defending early aggression. The Lings come out a few seconds faster. Maybe like 5 to 10 seconds faster. And that can mean the world of difference when a bunker is coming up into your natural. That can absolutely shut down the timing for a Terran player. And it's very hard to know by just looking, right? You come in as the Terran, you see the spawning pool. Are you going to notice those extra 10 seconds of difference? Maybe you try to put on pressure that you would usually be able to deal damage with against a 12 hatch. 12 hatch 11 pool. But the 11 hatch 10 pool might just have Lings out in time to defend you. Or defend your attack. So an interesting new style from Soma, new build from Soma. Kind of throwing aside the 12 hatch in favor of this. And we'll see if he continues with it going on into the SSL. Maybe this is going to make waves in the Zerg community. And of course there will have to be some sort of reaction from Terran as well if that becomes popular. Engineering Bay, Academy, +1 build from sSak. He's going to sit back a little bit comfortably behind this wall and get into his very early +1 as Soma builds his Spire. We'll see if he wants to go for a 2.5 hatch, throw down a 3rd base early, or what's his plan in this game. What is he going to react to from the Terran? He sees a very low number of Marines over at this wall, just 4 so far. Clearly just 1 base or 1 barracks production. And so he may already be suspecting that this is a +1 build, but can't be too sure yet. Very low chance that he's gonna be under any pressure here in the early game. And so he starts his 3rd hatchery in main. He's got his Speedlings out, checking bottom right, looking for that SCV, and in fact he will find it. Oh my gosh, is he actually gonna find this, or is it gonna get away? Well, that is insanity. Okay, he does see it. He sees it on the retreating vision of the Ling. That almost threaded the needle between the vision of these 2 Lings. You could see he was checking absolutely everywhere for that. He wants to get rid of it as soon as possible. And so he will. Gets rid of that. Probably will send a drone down to bottom right here soon. But starts his Mutalisk first. His Mutalisk production is in full swing. 5 mutas on the way. I expected actually 7 right off the bat, but maybe a bit of a mistake in his macro. I'm not sure. Maybe because he got this hatchery. Feels like he should have been able to make 7 mutas with no pressure coming on him. And he only built 6 Lings. There's the next 3. Gonna go up to 8 mutas. We'll see if he continues to just produce from there. There's not a lot of area for him to attack into. Like 5 mutas does deal 1-shot damage to these Marines, so he can kill off a few Marines here and there as sSak reacts. His Marine count is so low. Still takes 2 shots to kill an SCV, and it takes at least 2 shots to kill a medic with their 1 armor. Hatchery in bottom right. And some more mutas are going to get sent out here. And he is going to continue this production. Adding on a few drones, though, intermingled with the mutas that are being produced. And sSak is just about ready to push out. 4 racks hits pretty hard, especially with the +1 finishing right now. Range is done. +1 is seconds away from finishing. And this is a bit of a power spike for sSak. He's going to start to put his foot out on the map. taking little baby steps forward, making sure that he doesn't get overwhelmed by these mutas. The moment that the mutas reveal themselves in the main, though, he can make a move. He's actually going to move directly backwards, though. Rather than going for a kill, for example, on bottom right, he's instead going to send all of his marine forces back, and maybe this is a good choice, considering Lings are in his main now, running past that bunker. His marines are going to come back. A few SCVs will end up dying. I don't think sSak is going to lose from this, but he may end up losing a lot of SCVs. There's only 6 mutas left in the stack, but more are coming. Ling here in the main, or in the natural, excuse me. Gonna be a bit annoying. Swinging back around to the main base with these mutas. A bit of a mistake there. He will back off. Such a momentum-based play with these mutas. You have to keep getting kills on the marines, or the trades are not going to go your way. 7 drones in production. No transition. Looks like he might have tried to build that, but it didn't build. And again, he tried to build something there, but it didn't build. So he's having a little bit of a hard time getting these buildings on the way. There we go. Queen's Nest. Gonna get started. The mutas still sharking around the main, but they've done their job. They've kept the marines from leaving out and going out onto the map. Drones down in the bottom right, but still no third gas. Being a little bit slow with that. Has the 5 sunken colonies at the front. That was for when he dove into the natural and the marine group was out on the map. If the marine group comes to the natural, he has to have some sort of defenses, but sSak made the choice to go back home. So the sunken colonies, not the most useful in this case. Not getting any use thus far, although we'll probably see them come into play a little bit later on. Sunken colony down in the bottom right-hand corner. Soma's struggling a little bit to put his defenses in place before these bioforces make their way down towards bottom right. They're split up at the moment, and so there's a big opportunity for Soma to surround and kill this. He gets on top of that right before the 2 bio groups get together. He could have crushed this. Now they're together, though, and so that's not going to be a possibility. Starting +1 air weapons. He's going to build some Valkyries and have them dealing with these mutas soon. I think this is the first couple of Valkyries. There's 2. If he sends the Valkyries down, well, lurkers are already on the way, so maybe this is not going to work. Lurkers at each base. There's a lot of sunken colonies over at the natural, so not as many lurkers there, but there will be, I think, 2 lurkers spawning down in bottom right. He's gonna hit this with the Valkyries right as the lurkers are popping. The sunken colony comes out. He's gonna build a lurker egg in the front. The mutas have to help this fight. Lurkers are going to burrow. Ling's coming up from behind. Great spread on these marines. He's gonna target down this lurker. He kills the lurker. He's killing all of the mutas as well. I think sSak may have just done it with the 1-1, finishing up at the perfect time, and the Valkyries doing their work. Soma's gonna lose this base, and every drone here is going to be gunned down. Not a single survivor. And that lurker falls as well. Cancels all of the building units at this hatchery, and he will give it up. Even if he surrounds and kills this army now, I am loving sSak's position, and it's likely going to result in a victory here shortly. All of the mutas count. The muta count has been completely reset. There's only 2 lurkers on the map, and the army is just not there for Soma. So many bioforces coming out. If I'm sSak, I think you build like 2-3 bunkers out here just to be safe. You know, you don't want to end up losing a game like this. You've basically won it already. Sacrificing like 200 minerals is not going to hurt you that badly. But if there were some massive lurker counterattack, desperate lurker counterattack on the way, having a couple of extra bunkers could be the difference between living and dying. Looks like he's gonna lose his bioforce. All the mutas get targeted. Good retreat there, but now the medics are too far away to assist these Marines, and so they'll all be killed. But meanwhile, a drop happens in the main base, and the tap out moment has arrived. GG is called. Soma goes down to sSak, finally getting a win over this military man. Yeah, I tell you what, bunkers in the front are great in a situation like this. Killing the third base, the only thing I want to see out of a Terran player, well, the only thing I don't want to see from a Terran player, from a Zerg perspective, is them just bunker down and get ready for the counterattack, because that is the only thing on my mind. I'm not like, oh, I lost my third and everything at it. Let me just go and take another third and try to play this game out. No, I'm thinking about how do I get this Defiler to your natural with as many lurkers as possible to try and win right here, right now, because this game is not going anywhere. And so sSak, with the follow-up drop, wins this game. I'm glad to see him get a victory. Let's see if he can continue this streak. See if he can get any more wins off of Soma. Let's jump into our next game. A beauty timing from sSak in that last game. He's spawning in the top left, Soma in the top right. Got pulled apart by that Valkyrie play. Seemed like he had all the defenses ready with the 2 lurkers spawning right as the attack was coming in. It felt likely that he was going to be able to hold. But the spread of Marines, the targeting, the Valkyries arriving at the exact timing of that fight, everything culminated in one perfect storm that managed to, oh my gosh, this drone screwing up my concentration as I pontificate about that previous game. Another 10 pool from Soma. Adds the drone, builds the evolution chamber. I'm gonna have to copy this on the ladder, honestly. This seems good. I've been going for some more aggressive builds lately as Zerg. Opening with 12 pool, 12 gas, 12 hatch. And it gives me some options for early aggression, as well as it provides a little bit of early linkage to deal with the 8 racks potential. I have lost with it against 2 racks in the middle of the map. That like proxy 2 racks can still be kind of scary because you don't have much larva to actually build lings to deal with all the Marines that are coming at you, and you don't have the creep to build a sunken colony. So it has its backside, or its downsides. It's not totally safe in the early game, but I feel a lot more safe. And it seems like Soma with this build, the 10 pool, 11 hatch 10 pool, seems like he's feeling quite safe and confident in being able to deal with whatever Terran's going to throw at him with this build. Academy Rush on the side of sSak this game. A couple of different types of Academy Rushes. You could go for a barracks into Academy. But with the Academy first, then getting the barracks out, you're not going to have nearly as many Marines, but you're going to have that really crisp timing where you come out right before mutas, and there's a potential to force a bunch of sunken colonies or just kill if they don't build the sunken colonies necessary or links necessary. Speed and drones on the way. Bad rally, I think. Or is this going down to bottom right? Okay, might be going out to bottom right. He's gonna take a third base pretty early on. Wait, where is this going? That's some weird pathing if this is going to bottom right. Yeah, look at that. Oh, no, it's going to bottom left. Is he going to take a sneak base? SCV scouting the map. Could actually find this. How hilarious would that be? Okay, it's not going to. He didn't bother to scout that. And that is the exact base that Soma's gonna take. Look at this. The SCV checks bottom left, checks this base. It's gonna come check here and here, and then possibly here as well. And he's just barely gonna miss the base down at the bottom center, which is the one Soma's gonna take. This is some scumbag play from Soma. But you know what? I like it. From a pro player to just throw in a random hatchery like this. What's it called? A sneak base or a... just a totally out of left field expansion. This is the type of play that makes you wonder, like, what is this guy actually gonna do against me? You know, you think you've got him figured out, but then he throws in a play like this. Like, you're really wild as a pro gamer if you're able to do things like this confidently and make it work. Players are not going to know what to expect. People like soccer are not going to know what to expect from you if this is the way you're willing to play. If you're willing to throw this into your game plan. Like, oftentimes we talk about throwing in cheeses every once in a while to throw your opponent off and to catch them off guard. And players like Soma and Solkey are often great examples of that, right? We saw the 2-hatch Hydra come out of him earlier. 2-hatch Hydra bust. Those are some great plays to throw in every once in a while to really keep your opponent guessing. But this is another one of those. Taking a sneak base like this, especially when sSak is, he's checking the whole map, right? He's looking everywhere for an extra base. He's checked everywhere and he lost his SCV. And he never saw that base in bottom right. He's going to be scanning and trying to figure out what is happening. And he is going to be completely caught off guard, I think. Wow, a lot of sunken colonies being made. But the Marines are going to get here way before these are done, unfortunately. I think that someone might be in a bit of trouble. Okay, catches the medics at the back of the pack and slows down the Marines just barely enough that he's going to be able to get 4 together. 4 sunken colonies together. Oh my god. Oh my god. Soma, what are you doing? Oh no. Oh no. What is this? Soma just diving in and not really targeting anything. All the glaives and Muta's shots are just bouncing everywhere rather than killing what they were meant to kill. He loses quite a few Mutas. He's down to 6, but he actually clears out the remainder of the Marines. Another turret spawns. More Marines come out as well. The turret didn't spawn. It finished building. But the Mutas are turned back. Drones are finally going to get to mining down at bottom center. You can see how long they were just kind of idle there by... Look at that. Scan in the bottom right. sSak. Just by how many larvae there are, you can tell that he was not paying attention to that. Gonna go after the bunker at the front. sSak still thinks that there's no third base. He has no idea that there's a location out on the map. He's even gonna send a Marine down here, realizing that, you know, he can't scan everywhere to look for this base. He still thinks that it's 2-hatch. Or he still thinks that it's 2-base, excuse me. And it is absolutely not. Maybe the Marine comes down here now, as Soma's kind of allowed this Marine to go out and scout. Maybe it goes in and finds bottom center. That would be a massive scout at this point. +1 is done. +1 on the Muta's attack as well is finished. And so he can start to take down these turrets, but there's the Valkyrie. Immediately after, Valkyrie's going to arrive. He kills the Valkyrie. Can't get the turret though. These are getting low. Okay, the Marine is actually going to head to bottom left. That's so funny. He is not going to scout bottom center. The one location he hasn't scouted. And that's the exact position where Soma is having his base. That is pretty sad for sSak, but He's got the Valkyries out now. He's pushing back the Mutas. Hydralisk Den. Looks like he'll be building his transitionary buildings over at this base. Scourge in the mix. Can he get the Valkyrie? Oh, the Valkyrie, the Valkyrie. Oh, it's one hit, but not the second. Kills a few more SCVs. 33 to 32. Someone looking pretty good in terms of his worker count. Can he get some lurkers out here, though? He hasn't started lurker upgrade as far as I know. He's building Hydras. Did he actually get the lurker upgrade? I didn't see it in the production tab. Oh boy. I wonder if he thinks that he started, but he didn't. Excuse me if I didn't see that, but I saw the Hydralisk Den come up, and I never saw this in the production tab. I've done this before. Build Hydras and then realize, oh, I don't even have lurker. Yeah, there it is. He just finished the Hydras. And, yeah, we don't have lurker. Oh, gosh. That is a frustrating moment. Soma, I think with the intensity of the Mutalisk Micro so far, hasn't had time to pay attention to that. And now, Marines are going to come in a massive number. 4 Sunken Colony is not going to save you. He needs the Mutas to come up and combine with this. But the Valkyries are there. And the Valkyries are going to rip those Mutalisks apart. And so he can't really engage. He is going to get the big Scourge connections, but it's too late. The Valkyries have already done their damage. And the Marines have pushed through this sunken line. GG. sSak. Is he going to finally scan? Oh, he finally scans. There it is. He finds the base. A shame that Soma didn't start that lurker upgrade, but things like this happen. Even at the highest level, it's a bit cathartic, actually, to see Soma forget his lurker upgrade and just die because of it. That's the type of stuff that happens to me all the time on my stream. Guys, we're going to jump into our next game. Okay, I said that last game to myself. I said that last game was going to be the final match for that video, for this video, but we're going to do one more. We'll do one more. We got sSak in the bottom right. We got Soma in the top right. Vertical spawns. And there's going to be a part 3 to this, guys. So make sure to like and subscribe. That'll be coming out here the next week. A fun back and forth so far between these two. We've had such a good variety of games, honestly. Not much gas build coming out of sSak, but we've seen like mech transition, we've seen early +1, we've seen a full-on bio play, we've seen Valkyrie, we've seen Science Vessel. And on the side of Soma, I think we've only not seen much Hydralisk Defiler play. Not really favoring Hydralisk Defiler Soma recently, but we'll see. Maybe he wants to pull it out now. Polypoid. Kind of a decent map for this. Alright, the temple, he cancels the gas. Now, gonna pull a bunch of drones. See if he can hold this without losing anything. So far, his drone control has been insanely good in these games. He's been able to pull back the weakened drone so well. He doesn't pull that one back. We will get the surround on the Marine, which is awesome. Can he pull back the drone that is badly injured? No, not going to be able to pull that back. Might catch the second Marine, though. Oh, yeah, there you go. Nicely done there. Very nicely done. Gets the drones out. Gives him the Hawk Tua. There you go. Spits on him. Sends him back where he came from. Kill that Marine. Only 1 drone loss. Man, Soma is so good at holding this. I'm so jealous. This is such a pain in the ass to hold these type of attacks. Excuse my language, but really, so difficult to hold bunker rushes as a Zerg player. The drone control is just out of this world, guys. The way that Soma handles sSak's early aggression. But with the early aggression. He's got the wall to fall back to. Gonna go ahead and grab that gas. As the CC, only 2 Marines on the defense. This is the power of the wall in on Terran, from Terran. The full wall. A lot of modern maps are not gonna allow you to get a perfect wall where Zerglings can't slip through, because you can get away with so much. Because you can do things like this. Get super aggressive with your Marines, lose everything, and then just sit there and macro behind it without worrying about any sort of counterattack. It's like Soma just gonna be a little annoying. Not really anything he can do, though. A lot of modern maps and, you know, maps in the current map pool and I think in the future map pool as well are going to disallow walls like this to be possible, because it allows Terran to be aggressive for free, kind of, right? You didn't really lose anything by being so aggressive and getting shut down. He still gets to get all of his macro online. He still gets to be super greedy without any sort of punishment available. Any way to punish available for Soma. Map makers are starting to catch on to that, and they're making the transition. Oh, Hydra Den first. Interesting. The scan comes down. What does he see? He sees the Hydra Den. He does not see the Spire. So I think we might see mutas. I'm a gambling man. I would say Soma's about to build a bunch of mutas. Oh, he starts lurker upgrade. Wow. That is interesting. Starting lurker upgrade. We should see a factory. I'm surprised he goes to 4 barracks right off the bat. I was definitely expecting a factory play after seeing the Hydra Den. Where are the Hydralisks? He hasn't started to build any just yet, which is a bit of a surprise. One thing you can do from a position like this is you just build Queen's Nest along with this. Build the Queen's Nest. 7 Hydras on the way. Build the Queen's Nest. Get a bunch of lurkers out in the front. And if your opponent's factory is a bit slow, it's just behind 7, or just a little bit earlier than 7 minutes. That's still an okay timing, but if their factory is not done super early, there is a potential where you get lurkers out in front of their base and just disallow them from ever moving out. Eventually you get a defiler over to the natural and you can get a pretty easy kill. However, it's like I'm gonna utilize this wall with some SCVs to keep his rally point safe, and sSak is just gonna push out. Now these lurkers kind of have to play defensively. They're not a very good tool for chasing down Marines. Has to cancel top left. He cancels his third. He's just gonna go all the way across the map with all of these lings. He's got to use the lings in conjunction with these lurkers. Can't be throwing these away. All right, gonna go ahead and surround. There's only a couple of medics. Well, 1 medic in here. Lurkers are gonna run right up into this natural. The gun down most of the Marines. He loses 1 lurker, but he can go right into this natural. This is very scary for sSak. He was starting to build the bunkers. He was getting them online. My God, so many kills on that ramp. 10 kills on this lurker. He's getting on top of the barracks now, but you can see the tank is just not ready in time. And GG is called. Soma with a quick victory there. I'm so surprised that sSak didn't react appropriately to this. Getting out on the map is great. He forced the cancel, but his Marines were like somewhere over here, where they needed to be over here to actually slow down the lurkers as they're coming across the map. You force them to burrow and unburrow over and over again. That way you can get both of your bunkers up in the front, And you can finish your tanks, get your tanks going. So you have something to actually defend this counter. This was really Soma's only hope. And sSak just did not prepare accordingly. Kind of funny to see him react so poorly to the lurker play, but it's so uncommon these days having a lurker attack this early on. We really are getting a great variety in this series. And Soma mixing it up with the lurker play actually turns out very successful, considering it's so out of meta. It's out of style right now to do something like this. GG. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. This is the end of the video. We're gonna go into part 3 soon, so stick around for that. Hopefully you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you in the next video.